全ては映画のマジック。日本語で言うと特撮で
I truly miss the days when tokusatsu was actually mostly practical effects. Yeah, I blame Ryuki.
Continuing where we left off last week, Mr. Kaguya was about to find out the truth about his daughter and her merry band of magical girls until a mysterious figure appeared. It turned out to be Hikaru's favorite sci-fi director she brought up previously, P.P. Abraham, who I guess is meant to be a combination of J.J. Abrams and Steven Spielberg going by this E.T. parody, though he also kind of looks like Michael Moore.
One of these things isn't like the other. Okay, I'll be fair to Abrams. I'm sure he'll try his best with episode 9. But honestly, even a miracle worker couldn't say what already has the General Akbar seal of disapproval.
I'm like, who's this Holdo woman? Nobody knows this. No one's invested in that. Who is she?
Anyway, he was there to build a Precure out of their situation by claiming that everything Mr. Kaguya saw was just a part of a new movie he was making. Obviously, Mr. Kaguya wasn't dumb enough to fall for such an obvious lie, but as a politician, he had to bend a knee when the Prime Minister gave the go-ahead after being informed by Kaguya's men.
Damn, I knew Abe was an otaku, but I didn't really pay him as much of a sci-fi nerd too.
Yeah, I'll fully admit, this is more than a little contrived, especially considering how fast everything just gets resolved. Mr. Kaguya is smart enough to have reasonable doubt in Abraham's claim, so even if he was required to listen to the demands of the PM, he shouldn't be smiling and even say they'll support the project. And on that note, seriously, the PM just instantly gives the okay because he's a fan of Abraham?
This is starting to sound like a bad comic book plot.
Honestly, I just hope this isn't the end of Mr. Kaguya and his team, and this does get brought up later.
Still, Hikaru played along, even claiming that they were actresses in the film, much to Abraham's surprise. Yep, our main heroine just weaseled her way into a film.
Great role model!
The next morning, the Precure met with Abraham in Lala's ship. Wait, what?
Here's a fair question. Why did you let him into the ship before the big reveal of this episode that the title actually kind of gives away? Huh.
In the last episode, we saw Lala compacted into a little ball to hide it, so why reveal it to this guy who they don't fully trust or know yet? Anyway, Abraham revealed himself as an Arquillian from Men in Black.
Though, to be fair, these effects still do look better than MIB International. Whatever happened to good sci-fi?
Anyway, the miniaturalian... hell of it, I'm sticking with Arquillian. The Arquillian was an inspector from Hoshizora who became enthralled in Earth culture and began moonlighting as a Hollywood director. And I will admit, I was kind of amused by these parody posters, even though only one of them was a reference to Spielberg's works. Though, I'm not really sure if I'd ever want to see a version of Spaceballs not directed by Mel Brooks.
Sadly, that does kind of apply more to Spielberg than Abrams. This episode just depresses me.
As an inspector, Abraham had the authority to deport Lala's group back to their homeworlds as punishment for revealing their true identities to the Earthlings, even though he just did the same thing.
Boy, Precure lately is becoming a bit too political for my taste.
Hikaru managed to somehow convince Abraham to let them make the movie they promised for the PM and in exchange pardon Lala's group.
I guess Hikaru's figuring he can't deport them if Lala has to promote the movie and everything, but come on dude, you're just asking for your pink slip when you agree to stuff like this.
Meanwhile, at the Nota Raiders HQ, with their higher power named Darkness, a little on the nose there guys, awakened, he gave the generals upgrades, this time by making their weapons bigger.
I wonder if that's going to be a part of the next Smash Bros. Update.
Also, Bakin Yan seemed bothered by this revelation. I wonder why. Back with the Precure, production was underway for their little Space Ninja Night movie.
Say that.
Also, seriously, we're using the obvious reference to Princess Kaguya already? But yeah, it pretty much played out like episode 33 of Smile, with many of the jokes coming from our heroines having zero acting ability. It's a little played out, though I will admit, Madoka's direct reading of the script is creative and hilarious. On that note, it also does give our heroines a little more characterization, with Madoka becoming a nervous wreck in front of her father, and Elena proving to be the most capable actress, likely because she's used to having a leading role both in school and at home. Still, her skills didn't make up for Hikaru's lack of foresight.
Again, that might have been worth addressing in the last episode, just saying.
Things did go a little better once they reached filming the climax of the movie, and some of their more personal feelings managed to work their way in.
どんなに抗っても短い間だけど楽しかった。
It's worth mentioning that the character Lala is playing is likely based off of the titular Weaver Girl of the Chinese folktale The Cowherd and the Weaver Girl.
Basically, it was a tragic love story about a couple representing the stars Altair and Vegas, who were separated by a silver river that symbolized the Milky Way. And just like the Weaver Girl, Lala was about to be separated many stars away from her friends.
Again, a little on the nose, but the symbolism is appreciated, and Kamen Rider Zeranos is one of my favorites.
Anyway, they performed the scene, but added a little extra in.
絶対嫌だよ。私はララとずっと一緒にいたい。
Touching stuff, though it probably won't make it into the final cut, especially considering they broke character and used their real names.
I'm pretty sure if Chris Hemsworth ever broke character, he would have a much different opinion of Captain Marvel than Thor's. Actually, that probably applies to the rest of the cast too.
However, just as they finished the scene, Hikaru's pendant started pointing towards the Tauros? Wait, Hikaru got her Tauros pen back in the last episode. Heck, we can even see it during her transformation sequence coming up. The pen I1 should have currently is the Aries.
Come on, animators, get your zodiacs right.
Anyway, using the Dark Aries pen, I1 used Abraham as a catalyst to create a null trigger. And thanks to Darkness's power-up, it proved to be an actual challenge, though since this is an Aoyama episode, they couldn't animate anything too complicated.
あのシーンの続きを見せてあげよう。
I think I'm gonna pass. I hear it's gonna be like 3 hours, and I can't hold it in that long.
Luckily, I think I1 forgot to give her monster legs, and the Precure managed to send it flying. They defeated it with the Southern Cross Shot, but for once, I1 at least managed to run off with the Dark Pen still in hand. Later, after looking over the film, Abraham agreed not to deport Lala's group, saying he was already planning a sequel, in spite of the fact they probably have to do a lot of expensive reshoots now. Thus, the episode ended with the team giving Lala the surname of Hagoromo, which was her character's name in the movie, and would prove useful in the next episode.
As somewhat of a movie buff, I did appreciate all the movie references this week, but as a fan of Precure and continuity, I don't think this was the best follow-up to last week's episode.
At the end of the last episode, it really did seem like they were going to shake up the status quo significantly, but the advent of the Aquarian director put a rain check on that. I know that we're not even a quarter into the series, so we probably shouldn't expect that much just yet, but at the same time, a lack of consequences in this show does it no favors. Whether it be no one calling out Hikaru's mistakes, or Lala's group avoiding deportation just because they impressed Abraham a little, kind of kills off any sense of urgency in this show. That and Mitsuru Aoyama's very poor facial animations really didn't sell me on what should have been some very emotional scenes. With that said, I did still enjoy this episode. As I mentioned, I liked the little character moments we got with everyone during the filming, like Lala needing to use her ship's translator just to read the script, which I hope is addressed in the next episode too. We also got a little development for the villains, again mostly just Bakinyan, who might have his own agenda. And of course, I just appreciated the movie references to some of my childhood favorites. So overall, I did personally enjoyed this episode, in spite of Yuji Kobayashi still not quite impressing me with his writing.
And once again, sorry for the late review, but if you've been following me on Twitter, you'll know that I went up to Seattle for SakuraCon over the Easter weekend, and I had a great time. I got to see a lot of excellent cosplays, and even got to sit in on my first FGO panel ever. Though I will admit, overall it was more than a bit of a disorganized mess, with some panels starting really late, or others like the FGO panel not being able to let everyone in, and thus they really should have moved it to one of the bigger rooms. I mean, come on guys, it's only one of the most popular anime mobile games right now. Regardless, the regular schedule will return starting next Sunday, so look forward to all of that. And until then though, farewell for now my friends, and...
Merchandising! Where the real money from the movie is made.
Ooh, do you guys have coasters? I still have some leftover con money.